So let's see what happens with let's see what happens with Kylian Mbappe, because to me it's gonna be a kind of weird situation, man. I mean, I don't know what is gonna happen, but let me tell you something. Pedrerol last night really, I mean, literally smashed Kylian Mbappe. Really smashed Kylian Mbappe because of the things that I told you. I mean, we might not be interested anymore in the player. If you think about it, now we kind of might feel kind of, like, okay, no, man, now is not the time. It was the time last summer, but after what you did to us, man, I'm so sorry, but we are no longer interested in you. So let's see what happens, but this is kind of interesting thing, and let's see what happens, of course. So for example, let's go ahead with the next news. I mean, it is actually not news, it is basically the opinion from Josep Pedrerol last night in El Chiringuito. I cannot play the video of Josep Pedrerol smashing Kylian Mbappe just because of the copyright thing, but let me tell you, it was hard, and he was basically saying, man, now find another way because the Real Madrid door is completely shut down for you. I mean, there's no way, there's no choice for you to sign for Real Madrid in the future, in the near future, foreseeable future, or in the long run, right? Because we are no longer interested in you because you had the opportunity to come to Madrid last summer. You said no, you rejected that, and now we are the ones who are no longer interested in you. So that is basically what Josep Pedrerol said last night, and what Josep Pedrerol, or the thoughts of Josep Pedrerol. And what is quite interesting is to know the figure if that is also the thought of Florentino Perez or Jose Angel Sanchez. We will have to wait a little bit more, but let me tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if Florentino Perez said no to Kylian Mbappe forever. I mean, and forever means forever. No other choice, no another drama, another episode, another series of Kylian Mbappe signing, no other stuff. Because we are going to go ahead and try to sign the Erling Haaland because it's a better option for the future, and the player hasn't been played with Real Madrid, okay? That is the reason number one, and probably the most important. And talking about signings, talking about stuff, talking about players and other stuff, let me share with y'all this news that really surprised me today. Yeah, it is this. Look, over the last 2 days of the market, of the last summer market, Jurgen Klopp literally tried to hijack Fede Valverde to Real Madrid with a super incredible offer, stunning offer of about 100 million euros, which is completely insane, okay? So Jurgen Klopp tried to hijack to Fede Valverde to Real Madrid in the last minute, in the last moment. I mean, not the last minute, right? But over the last 2 days of the market, which means that they were all the time scanning and monitoring the situation of Fede Valverde, because as you know, in Real Madrid, within Real Madrid, every single player has a price, but not Fede Valverde. The arguably only one player that is not for sale, right? Real Madrid is counting on the player not only for now, but for the future. So it was completely impossible for Jurgen Klopp to hijack, steal, or even buy the player, because Real Madrid, Florentino Perez, was not considering at all the sale of Fede Valverde to any other club in the world. Casemiro is a completely different thing, right? It's a completely different story because the player really wanted to leave Real Madrid last summer, but not Fede Valverde, who apparently is super happy in Real Madrid and is not interested at all in leaving the club this year. So that's it. No more drama, no more history regarding to Fede Valverde. Another interesting question, another interesting story we have to talk about is just this. Look at that. Look, so Vinicius Jr., I'm gonna drop some context here so y'all can understand the story, can understand the situation, and can understand or have a bigger frame of what's going on right now with Vinicius Jr. in La Liga. So right now, there are a lot of people super upset, super pissed with Vinicius Jr. just because the player, every time he scores, he dances, right? And a lot of people out there are super angry, are super mad at him, are super pissed just because every time he scores, he dances, he sings, all this stuff, right? Problem with that is if you get involved, if you are engaged in all the provocations from the rival, you might end becoming a victim of their play. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if they are insulting you all the time, if they are provoking you all the time, you finally get engaged with them, the problem is you might be sent off, right? So apparently, according to Cadena Ser, the locker room of Real Madrid, the rest of the teammates, especially the oldest ones, are talking to Vinicius Jr. to say, hey, calm down, buddy. I mean, do not get engaged with this provoking people, with these provoking words, with the provoking phrases that they throw to you. Do not pay attention to that and just play. That's it. Do the thing that you do the better, and the best, and try your best and forget about everything else, right? So that is basically what they are telling the Vinicius Jr. to do, and forget about the rest, right? So to me, it is a kind of wise suggestion, because another day it might end in a different way. He might be sent off to the locker room or something like that, or booked or something like that, and there's no necessity for us to see Vinicius Jr. going out of the pitch, right? So let's see what happens, but apparently they are trying to calm him down and try to not get along with the rivals, but try to cool the things down. And let's keep talking about more stuff, which is basically even more important than that, because this is affecting to Cristiano Ronaldo for a very, very good reason. Look at this. Cristiano Ronaldo, okay, last summer, he rejected, let me share with you all this, not this stuff, but this stuff. Look at this. So Cristiano Ronaldo rejected an offer last summer of about $242 million apparently, to go and play in Saudi Arabia, right? So $242 million would have made the contract of Kylian Mbappe a big joke, right? He would have become the best ever paid player in the soccer history, right? But for the only reason, I mean, in terms of soccer, it is pretty obvious if you go and play in Saudi Arabia, you will not become one of the greatest players in the world back ever again, right? But just because he loves to play football, he loves to be the best, that is the only reason why he decided to remain in Europe, even in Manchester United, where he was not comfortable at all, right? But even with that, he decided to stay, because in the worst case scenario, he is still playing in the top elite, in the top trophies, in the top competitions in Europe, in the world, right? Because if you go out to Saudi Arabia to play, it is good because you will make a lot of money, but the problem is football-wise, soccer-wise, trophies-wise, is not the same, right? It's not exactly the same, and the problem with that is you're not going to get ever again the player you used to be, right? Or the best player in the world, or fight for the next Ballon d'Or, or things like that. So that is, in my opinion, what Cristiano Ronaldo thought before to accept the offer, and that's why he said no. And as far as Real Madrid, I have to keep sharing with you all some new information regarding to Jude Bellingham. This new information coming up, it is pretty much the battle that is coming up for Jude Bellingham the next year. As you all know, Jude Bellingham has been one of the best, one of the top performers in the Borussia Dortmund last year, right? And Real Madrid and other teams like Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester, stuff like that, have been quite interested in the player. So next summer, the player, I mean, will be leaving Borussia Dortmund at 95% chance, right? So now we have like four super strong teams fighting for Jude Bellingham. To me, Real Madrid has already started to work on the signing of Jude Bellingham, but there will be a big battle for the player considering Liverpool, Manchester or Chelsea are three of the arguably strongest teams in the world, right? In terms of money, in terms of marketing stuff and all these things that the players consider before to sign for any other team. They think about that, and obviously the Premier League teams are the best in the world when it comes to marketing stuff, financial wise and all these things, right? So Jude Bellingham might become the biggest signing next year, 2023, just because there are four teams in the race to signing him for the next year. So let's see what happens. To me, Real Madrid has a lot of probabilities to sign the player, but of course it's gotta be tough. And this is quite interesting as well. Look. Apparently, FC Barcelona, according to Eduardo Inda last night in El Chiringuito, FC Barcelona are flirting with Marco Asensio just because they know the situation of Marco Asensio is not quite good in Real Madrid, and he might be thinking about go out and quit in Real Madrid and get out of Real Madrid. So that's why Joan Laporta might be scanning and monitoring the situation just in case a chance pops up and he has a chance to sign the player in the next winter market. I'm not quite sure though if the player is still interested in leaving Real Madrid, but after the explosion of the player on the bench of Real Madrid the other day after the game against Mallorca, when he learned he wasn't coming on the pitch because there was already all the changes were exhausted and he was not going to be playing against Mallorca. He learned that and he exploded in the bench of Real Madrid, kicking out and throwing bottles and stuff like that. And that is the reason why a lot of people are thinking the player might be willing to leave Real Madrid not next season, but next winter in the next transfer window. And apparently Barcelona is a little bit interested in not chasing, but scanning and monitoring the situation. So let's see what happens. But Marco Asensio might be closer to FC Barcelona or closer than we think. And now let's talk about the game tomorrow against Leipzig, because UEFA has released the potential starting 11 for Real Madrid tomorrow. Okay, that starting 11 might be this way: goalkeeper Courtois, defenders Carvajal, Rudiger, Alaba, and Mendy. Midfielders Tchouaméni, Camavinga, and Luka Modric, which is very interesting. And forwards Valverde, Rodrigo, and Vinicius. Like Carlo Ancelotti said the other day, Valverde will play on the right wing of Real Madrid, and Rodrigo will be the number 9 for this game, replacing Karim Benzema. The midfield, for example, is quite interesting, as you will see the Tchouaméni for the first time in the Champions League game being in the starting 11 with a big responsibility alongside Camavinga, and of course the midfielder director Luka Modric, who of course has to be there to coordinate the whole thing, as Tchouaméni and Camavinga are still young players to command the midfield of Real Madrid. But it's still my opinion, a very midfield for Real Madrid tomorrow. And defensive-wise, we will have the Carvajal again because Lucas Vázquez is injured, Rudiger again, Alaba, and Mendy. Militao has been training though, but I don't think he will be forced to play tomorrow against Leipzig. So let's see what happens. But these guys might be the guys that should be in the starting 11 of Real Madrid tomorrow. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see the game tomorrow, man. It's gotta be quite interesting, let me tell you. It's gotta be quite interesting. I'm pretty sure of that. I mean, it's the champions, man. It is the champions. It's always interesting, right? Okay, let me Hub, so you'll have the content right after the streaming. Let me upload them to all of them, and I will keep talking about news because we have a bunch of stuff today. Probably the most important news today is about Kylian Mbappe and what I told you all. But my opinion is that today is a quite interesting day, man. Okay, so more stuff regarding to Real Madrid. Let's go with all right, yeah, more good news. In this case, I will be talking about the financial books of Real Madrid that have been released, and now we've just learned Real Madrid had 425 millions in benefits. I mean, not the profit, but the income. I always confuse about the income and profit, but I think it was the income. Yeah, no, look at that. No. This is a completely different story. Sorry, my bad. Okay, I was wrong. Real Madrid has 425 million euros to sign for the next year, which is completely insane, man. Yeah, Real Madrid has published their books for the season 21-22, and they are green. I mean, they are in benefits. Like we say in Spain, we are in benefits, profits, income, in profits probably. Okay, so yeah, we came back on track after 2 years of the COVID stuff, and almost 500 million euros, okay? 500 million euros in the bank account. So 500 million euros available for us to sign whoever it is, which is great. And this reflects the good health Real Madrid financial situation it is right now. It is just unbelievable because there's no many soccer teams out there with this kind of books, with this kind of numbers in the books like Real Madrid. It's just insane, man. Insane. So happy to hear that, man. And now more stuff. Let's keep talking about, okay, Lucas Vázquez. We have a problem. Yeah, so we have a problem with Lucas Vázquez, and the reason for that is because the injury that he had, or he got the other day against Mallorca, it is worse than we thought. We thought it was just a muscle overload or something like that, something easy, maybe a couple days relax or something like that. No, apparently it's worse, and he won't be able to make it tomorrow against Leipzig. I mean, it's not big deal considering is the right back, and we also have completely recovered the Carvajal, and also we have two Odriozola as well and Vinicius Tobias. But every time we cannot count on Lucas Vázquez is a problem because the guy normally performs at a very good level, and of course Carlo Ancelotti always want him in the squad just in case, but not this time, okay? So just for y'all to know, Lucas Vázquez might not be, not even in the starting 11, but in the squad list against Leipzig tomorrow. So let's see what happens. To me, Carvajal will be in the right back of Real Madrid tomorrow. He will be back on the starting 11 again. And after the game that he missed the other day against Mallorca, I think it was a very good time for him to get back. And yeah, I mean, the thing or the fact Lucas Vázquez will not be able to make it is not big deal, okay? It's just for you to know, but it's not big deal. The fact Lucas Vázquez will not be featured in the game tomorrow against Leipzig. Oh, and this is important, man. This is really, really important because Ramon Álvarez de Mon, let me tell you something. So Ramon Álvarez de Mon has released in this tweet, the board members of Real Madrid are completely disappointed, or were completely disappointed with the performance of Eden Hazard against Mallorca. Okay, they were not happy at all, and for them, the player should have played way better than what he did, right? My opinion is we shouldn't judge Eden Hazard for that just for one game, right? We decided to go ahead and push him up to the stars right after Celtic de Glasgow and his performance and all the stuff, and now we are coming back on our steps trying to, push him down again, and it's not fair. I mean, the other day wasn't great to me, but this day, last day against Mallorca, wasn't super horrible day either. I mean, you cannot push a player up to the stars just for one single game, but you cannot, putting him down, throwing him down under the bus just for one game either. It's the same kind of thing, right? So I'm not quite sure about what is going to happen with Eden Hazard this season, but if he's not performing at a higher level, my opinion is the board members of Real Madrid will try to get rid of him as soon as possible, and that could be in the next winter window. I don't know, but this is not quite good for the Belgian player in Real Madrid. I don't know, man. To me, Eden Hazard is a very good player still, but we have to give him a little bit more time to really, find himself and gain more confidence, right? Before to make any judgment, but apparently that is not quite possible. No. So let's keep talking about more stuff regarding to Real Madrid because we have more things to talk about. Look at this. All right, so here we go. Next one is about the question that pops up right now within Real Madrid and was made by Jose Luis Sanchez in El Chiringuito. Erling Haaland or Kylian Mbappe for 2024? Which one should we pick in the future? So, of course, this is not a very easy question, right? Right now that we know, or we've just learned, Kylian Mbappe have a contract with Paris Saint-Germain until 2024. Now it is a very, very difficult, should it be difficult though, because after what Kylian Mbappe did to Real Madrid, we shouldn't have any doubt about we should go ahead and try to sign Erling Haaland way ahead of Kylian Mbappe, right? But the problem is, again, soccer-wise. Every time you have to find the best players for your club, it is pretty obvious you cannot go by feelings, right? You cannot go by feelings and say, no, now I love more the Erling Haaland because Mbappe is a traitor, is a bad person, is a bad player, whatever. No, if he is still performing at a top level, Florentino Perez has to go ahead and try to sign him. I'm okay with that. I don't like it, I hate that, but it is true. If you really want to see Kylian Mbappe because he's performing at a very top level, then there's no other way for you to there's no other way. There's no other option, and you have to go and try to sign Kylian Mbappe just for that reason, right? If he is one of the best players in the world at that moment, then you have to go ahead and press the pedal to the metal, go all in and try to sign the player just because it's not good for you, but it's good for Real Madrid. And that's it. If you are the president of Real Madrid, it is pretty obvious you have to look for the best of the team, for the best of the institution, not for the best of you, right? So if you are assuming that you have to do that in that way, there's no question you have to go there, right? You have to go and sign Kylian Mbappe. But, of course, if this means to forget about Erling Haaland, then my opinion is don't do that. Do not go and try to sign Kylian Mbappe, because to me right now, the best option for Real Madrid, now that we have two, Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo Goes, we should go ahead and sign Erling Haaland, not Kylian Mbappe. And the reason for that is because you already have players that can play in the wings, but what you don't have is a number 9 striker position, replacement for Karim Benzema, right? You already have to Karim Benzema, but what about tomorrow when you don't have to Karim Benzema to play in that position and you have to find another player for that position? That is when all the question will pop up, right? So let's see, I don't know, but to me, the decision is pretty clear. I would go to sign Erling Haaland instead of Kylian Mbappe. But if we can make it, we should go and try to sign both of them. And the reason for that is because we have to have competition for every single position in Real Madrid. But let's see what happens, because this is a pretty obvious, difficult question, right? Another thing very important is about Camavinga, Tchouaméni, and Modric, because they are the expected midfield for tomorrow. We've been talking about this. They should start, or they might start tomorrow against Leipzig. And the reason for that is because we are playing the champions. The good news to me, I think it's a very, very good choice by Carlo Ancelotti if this is going to happen, because Eduard Camavinga has to gain confidence in the Champions League. That's number one. Tchouaméni is doing great performances in Real Madrid, so there's no question about that either. And of course, if you are playing with two very young players, although they are doing a very good job, you still need a big boss, right? And the big boss is, of course, Luka Modric. Luka Modric has to coordinate the whole midfield and tell them what they have to do if they need to, right? If they need somebody to walk them through, or a little bit of guidance, I think that Modric is the perfect person, is the perfect player for being with them in the midfield of Real Madrid. So let's see if they perform at the very top level. I'm pretty sure that they will, right? But it's still, there's always hesitations, there's always questions popping up and all the stuff. So we will have to wait a little bit. But my opinion is yes, they can perform together. They can perform at a very good level. And to me, there is no question about that this is the perfect midfield for Real Madrid tomorrow. But of course, as usual, we will have to wait a little bit more. The other thing I have for you all, guys, is pretty much this. So, according to Eduardo Inda, Rodrigo Goes wants to be the number 9 player as long as Karim Benzema cannot perform, cannot play, or whatever. As you know, Rodrigo Goes, every time he plays, within the box or closer to the goal, he actually plays way better versus when he plays in the right wing of Real Madrid. To me, the natural position of Rodrigo Goes, it is, of course, the left wing of Real Madrid. But as long as you have people there, in this case Vinicius Jr., I think a better choice for Rodrigo Goes is the whether number 9 position or right wing. And between two of those, I think that the number 9 position is even better because he has a lot of goal, right? So if he plays close to the goal, if he plays close to the rival box and the semicircle, I think it's a better choice for us, for him, for Ancelotti, and for Real Madrid to have him in that position, right? Because I think there's no question about how great he is every time he has to play in that position and how able he is to score goals from that position. So let's see, right? Because you never know what can happen, but my opinion is that he really can play in that position, and there's no question to me he can do a great job if he is able to perform at top level in that position, right? And then more stuff regarding to for all those of you who are just jumping into the streaming, let me tell you today, the news of the day, it is pretty much about the contract that Kylian Mbappe signed with Paris Saint-Germain last summer. It wasn't a 3-year contract, but a 2-year contract with a third optional which might not be completed as the player. I think he doesn't feel very comfortable. I think he doesn't feel really good at Paris Saint-Germain for all the things that are happening right now within the Parisian team. So yeah, we might see the players saying, okay, I'm gonna play 2 more years in this team, and then right after that, that's it. I don't have stomach for more, and I prefer to go out and play in Real Madrid and fulfill my dreams or whatever it is. Now the question is whether Florentino Perez will pick him for the future or Erling Haaland, right? I think it's not pretty clear right now that Florentino Perez will go ahead and say, yes, you can come now and play with us. No, because Florentino Perez really knows what is the feeling within Real Madrid fans, and he knows we are not very happy with him right now. So that'd be a kind of major suicidal move by Florentino Perez. I think that Real Madrid fans ultimately will accept Kylian Mbappe, but it won't be without drama, right? So be prepared for that because it might happen. And of course, every time a player tries to diminish or look down to Real Madrid or insult Real Madrid in different ways, the Real Madrid fans will fight back to that player, and of course that is not pretty clear in the case of Kylian Mbappe. For some people out there, I've been asking a lot of people, and a lot of people out there are okay with Kylian Mbappe coming in, but man, you never know. And of course Florentino Perez will have to think about that. So let's see what happens with Kylian Mbappe. But let me tell you, this information came up yesterday from L'Equipe, from the newspaper in France. So it is completely true and 100% legit. And so yeah, we can trust and rely on this information that is very, very true. And Kylian Mbappe might finish his contract with Paris Saint-Germain as of 2024. So that's it, guys. That is what I had for you all today. And of course, subscribe my channel and see you in the next streaming.